Now recording from deep within the bowels of Castillo de Metal, located in the barren wasteland of South Broadway. Three heavy metal degenerates doing their best to put sentences together and discuss all that is hard rock and heavy metal. The Stone and Steel Cast!
Alright, welcome everybody to another episode of the Stone and Steel Cast. Glad to have you with us as always. This is James Yarnell, and with me is Brandon Moss as always, and we're excited to be here again. It's been a couple weeks or so since our last one, but lots happened, and summer seems to be in full swing here, so summer concert series around here has started, and we got a lot to talk about. So thanks again for joining us. So, Brandon, how are you doing?
Oh, doing all right. Just like you said, we got a bunch to talk about. I think it's been 2 weeks or so, just about since our last podcast, and we've seen some shows. We've played some shows since then. So, without further ado, why don't we get into what happened this past weekend? We got to
last week was pretty big for us. I guess it wasn't the weekend. You and I went to see Whitesnake on Wednesday at Murrah, or what's it called? National Center now, Old National Center?
Yeah, I still call it the Murrah. It might still be called the Murrah for all I know. But so Whitesnake, we had Whitford St. Holmes opening for them too, which I was really happy to see those guys. I'd never seen Derek St. Holmes live before, and I'm not even sure how old he is, but man, he still sounds great, especially given his age.
Well,
when you think about
it sounded fine from what I heard.
When you think about him being on the first Nugent album, and I think that came out probably 45 years ago, and he can still hit those notes for Stranglehold, it is great. And Aerosmith being, one of my favorite bands, it was, cool seeing Brad Whitford. They did an album signing, which was really cool of them, not only to be signing their new CD, but when you buy their CD, it comes with their debut album, which came out in like 81. And it's an extremely hard to find album, and I've been listening to it for the past week, and it's great, very solid, straightforward. That late '70s, early '80s hard rock that you'd expect to get from a guy from Aerosmith and a guy from Ted Nugent. Can't say enough good things about them. Here we are talking more about those guys than even Whitesnake.
Well, we'll get to them. We'll get to Whitesnake. I think a lot of people probably never heard of Whitford St. Holmes. So, I asked you about this the other day because I wasn't real sure, and I'm not a guitar player. I didn't know Brad Whitford was a soloist very much. I thought he was just always in Aerosmith, he was always kind of the background guitar player. Obviously, because Joe Perry got most of the guitar attention, you could say. Because it's Joe Perry, and admittedly, I got there late, so I got caught like the tail end of the last song. They finished up with Stranglehold.
Yeah, they had a nice medley of Aerosmith and Nugent tunes. Yeah, they finished up with a medley of Aerosmith and Nugent tunes. That's all I was saying. You caught them right at the end of their big medley that they played just a bit of Aerosmith and Nugent tunes. But yeah, you were saying that Aerosmith is Joe and Steven pretty much up front. But now that's not to say that Brad hasn't written some classic Aerosmith tunes like Last Child, and I believe he plays the lead on that tune as well.
Well, there's so many Aerosmith songs out there. You think he's got to. If he can, you think he's played on more of them. I don't know.
And I think he's probably co-written more, but that's the one I mostly attribute him with, as well as Kings and Queens. I believe he wrote that one as well.
That's a great tune.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite Aerosmith songs. Off of Draw the Line, which is pretty well overlooked. I think we probably talked about Rocks last time. Yeah, Draw the Line's another one of those overlooked Aerosmith albums. But so at in the early '80s, when Joe Perry left Aerosmith and Jimmy Crespo joined, Brad Whitford also left and formed Whitford St. Holmes. It's so hard to find, and I think that's probably why people like you and me, our age, we wouldn't have any idea. I think they've only, outside of their reunion CD, which came out, I think, last year or early this year, I think they really only did a couple albums, but that would explain a lot anyway, because Aerosmith ended up getting back together in '85 anyway. But it's such a good album. Just very straightforward, not overproduced, in your face, straightforward hard rock, and it can't recommend.
Well, to give you any idea of how hard it is, how rare that is, I'm looking on Amazon right now, and it looks like the first Whitford St. Holmes album, you get the CD for $69.99.
Yep. So that's why I jumped at the opportunity to not only buy their new album, which is great, but the second disc is that first album. So it's a nice combo. For $15, you can get their CD plus their super hard to find debut. So well worth it.
It is on Amazon, $11.99 for the CD. So
cool.
You're interested, check it out or pick it up if you can at your local record store, as we always suggest.
Yeah.
So let's talk now about the headliner that night, Whitesnake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's the greatest hits tour, and pretty much a phenomenal lineup. I had a great time. It's a fantastic show. David Coverdale sounded great, especially considering his age. I think he's almost 70 or so.
64.
Wrong on that, but and of course our buddy Joel Hoekstra is now playing co-lead guitar with them, and of course we met him, and Joel was a Night Ranger, and we played with them. And great guy. He's got as I was telling you after the show, man, Joel is just the full package. Unbelievable guitar player. He's got great stage presence.
Yeah.
A great look. Super nice guy. You can tell he's having fun. And I don't know, you can't ask for really much from him. And of course, Red Beach is great as always. He's a phenomenal guitar player, and he plays with. Does he still play with Winger when he can?
Oh, of course. Oh yeah, he still plays with Winger. I caught a Winger show last February at Pierre's, and that was fun.
Okay.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Both those guys completely technical virtuosos on guitar. I would consider both of them phenomenal.
Yeah, and of course you got Animal, Tommy Aldridge back there in the drums, who
plays a drum solo with his hands.
What to say? About him. He's been doing it forever, and I loved him ever since his solo and his playing on the Ozzy solo live tribute with Randy Rhoads album.
Absolutely.
So he's phenomenal. And the bass player, his name escapes me right now for some reason. I know David said it like 2 or 3 times, but he did a great job. So great show. David Coverdale's talked lately about retiring maybe this year, next year.
Yeah.
You can't fault him. He's had a hell of a run, and
Yeah, to be in Deep Purple, like to start your career, for the most part, start your career with Deep Purple riding high. That's something in of itself. But then to be, man, we really could do a whole podcast about Whitesnake. I think we should, just because there's enough there that you could definitely talk about with all the lineup changes and whatnot. But to have success with one band and then have it stop dead in its tracks, because that's pretty much what happened in the mid-late 70s, and when Coverdale started Whitesnake, and then to have an album as big as their 1987 Whitesnake album was, 2 successful bands. I can't think of that many singers that had that kind of success, in 2 completely different. Like, the only other one that right now comes to mind might be Dio. To be successful with Sabbath and then him as a solo artist. You know what I mean? Or Ozzy, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for him. You know what? We should do an all Whitesnake podcast sometime. That'd be fun. Or do an all Deep Purple one, too. We could talk about this shit forever, so.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do.
But
there's plenty to talk about. Yeah, great show.
And then also, as far as concerts, we have you and I played last Friday, Fifth Quarter Lounge here in Indy, and we played with Soldiers of Fortune. We played as Soldiers of Fortune, and we opened for the Dio Disciples and played with El Rusho, the Rush tribute band. But Dio Disciples, band consisting of some of the guys that used to play with the late great Ronnie James Dio, notable guys, Craig Goldie, of course, the guitar player, and Simon Wright, the drummer. got to meet I got to meet everybody in the band. I think you did too, and that was a hell of a show. A lot of fun. Fifth quarter's not real big, but it's got a great system. Perfect place to see a concert like that, I think. And I don't know, I had a blast. What are your thoughts?
It was a bit surreal, I think, to play in an intimate venue like that with members who have been in that band, been in Dio's band, and other bands on that level. I mean, I can't speak for them. I don't know if they look at it as very humbling, but I mean, to me, I just think it's super cool as a fan. Because all those guys are not only playing Dio Disciples, but some of them are playing in other bands that are current in touring. I thought they were super cool though. Enjoyed chatting with them what little I did, and hopefully Pat too. Pat can jump on the podcast at some point, because I know he had some pretty cool conversations with them as well.
He did, and afterwards he and I were talking to Craig, and he had even mentioned maybe having Craig come on the podcast sometime and tell a story, which is fascinating. It's a real rags to riches story. If you didn't know that about Craig Coldy, it's an interesting read. You can go to his website, and he talks about it on there. But it's just stuff that was all new to Pat and myself, and we'd love to have Craig on sometime so he can tell a story. It's definitely a story of being down on your luck and staying with something and following your dreams and having the right things happen at the right time. Great guy, super nice, super humble. Couldn't thank me enough for coming to the show and everything and being there. And I'd love to have him on sometime. So maybe that's something we can work out, because that'd be an honor.
It was an honor enough just to chat with a little bit. I mean, he's a huge Blackmore fan, as am I. So told him from one Blackmore fan to another, and I'm honored to open for them.
Absolutely. So and we, like I said, we played with Soldiers of Fortune. We played all the Thin Lizzy songs that people love. I thought we had a pretty good reaction. And El Rusho played right after us. They killed it. I was very impressed. I mean, those Rush songs, anybody knows, those are not easy to play or sing, and they did a great job. And we're actually playing with them next month on the 23rd at Fifth Quarter. It's a co-headlining show.
Nice.
Soldiers of Fortune, El Rusho. Show starts probably 8 or 9 o'clock. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. $6 cover, but right there, not far from Fountain Square. So if any of our listeners are in the Indianapolis area, come out July 23rd. I think it's a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come out, and we'd love to see you. Come up and say hello.
Both Soldiers and Rusho.
Right. It'll be a great time. Two great tribute bands. Well, tribute bands to two great bands. We'll say it like that. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Now, you just reminded me, when I was getting a poster signed, I didn't get Simon Wright's autograph. But you
really?
got a yeah, he must have just snuck by me through all the meet and greets and whatnot. I think he just got through, because I saw you had a picture with him, but I didn't get Simon's autograph.
Oh, that sucks.
What?
I can sign it instead.
Yeah.
I can sign you.
No, but I do have a pretty funny story, though. When Bjorn Englund, I think I'm saying his name right, the bassist, when he signed my poster, and it was a bit loud in there, but he was like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I said Brandon, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure where he's from," but he's like, "Oh, how do you spell it?" And I couldn't hear him. Now I can't remember. I was like, What? Huh? I'm sorry? He's like, how do you spell it? And I was like, "Oh, Brandon." But I started my stupid sentence with O. So he wrote "Oh, Brandon," which I mean,
wow.
Yeah. So O apostrophe Brandon or something. I don't know, but I'm fine with it. If he wants to, if you thought my name was O'Brandon, sure, why not? I'll take it. I didn't want to stop him midway through, and I realized what was going on. But Brandon, yeah. So I got I'm O'Brandon, but that's fine. That's fine.
What are you, Irish now?
I guess so. Whatever. Yeah, and it makes for a decent story, I think.
It does. I
mean, he speaks well English, but I was chatting with him a little bit too before we were all setting up. When we were back in their green room, and it's got all the stuff written all over the walls and by previous other bands. Probably more of the punk bands, I'd imagine. Just guessing from the certain drawings and signatures or what have you. But he was really cool about it. It's like I'm used to playing in stadiums with Yngwie Malmsteen. It's just like, yeah, I know you play with Malmsteen, and, Malmsteen and Hellion, because that's kind of how it starts. Like, man, I saw you guys, with Hellion, and I know you play with Malmsteen. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm used to that, and Yngwie really likes the echo, but when there's a lot of echo, I can't really hear as much what I'm doing, even though he likes it. So it's really cool that this place, even though it has like wood paneling, that this is really cool. I'll be able to hear myself better. So it's cool. It's cool. He's not put off by playing in this place that's got like dicks drawn with Sharpies all over the walls and in their room by punk bands and whatnot. But yeah. So seeing him later, Brandon. That's what my name is.
Brandon.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start calling you that from now on.
Yeah, I'll post a picture of that signage too. Instantly, like wrapping up the night, getting all my signatures and everything's cool. Oh, Brandon, all right. Well, what am I gonna do? Stop him? No, that's not my name. Oh, you ruined it. No, that's Brandon. That's fine. Because now I can tell that story.
Yeah, and well, that's a pretty good story. Okay, moving on. So,
before the albums, don't forget one more show. Since our last episode, we had another show at the Vogue. Sebastian Bach was here with Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah, I missed that one. How was it?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Sebastian he can still sound like you'd want him to sound.
Really?
He played, I think, probably 99% Skid Row tunes. He might have played one solo tune, and I'm completely spacing on what that tune would have been. Because, again, I'll be honest, I'm more familiar with the Skid Row tunes. Not to say I don't like
it. Bitch Slap?
Oh, I don't think he played that. I think I might have remembered that, but he, but no, he sounded great. And then the day after the show, the old blabbermouth rumor mill got stirred up a little bit, saying that he'd be open to a Skid Row reunion. So take that however you will.
The day after he played in Indy, that happened, huh?
Well, the day after he played in Indy, whatever site it was, Blabbermouth or whatever, were the ones talking about it. So, I mean, he said that he's open to it, and I don't know. I think at this point, anything can happen. That's not to say his band wasn't pretty badass. They were great. Let's see, Rob DeLuca on bass, who is also in UFO. I think he was in UFO when I saw them a few years ago up in Chicago. Super cool guy. Yeah, I got some pics and signatures from him and guitarist. The guitarist he played in Wildside. What was his name? I'll flip it up. Their drummer, I know, plays in Fate's Warning, which they got a new album coming out pretty soon too.
They do.
Yeah.
The last album was phenomenal. Fate's Warning. Well, that's awesome. I'm kind of mad I missed it. It plays pretty much in my neighborhood. I had something going on that night. I don't know what it was, but I'm glad you had a good time. Good for Sebastian.
Great.
We'll see if anything.
Opener was great too. The opener was great too. Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, young guys from they're from somewhere in Europe. We went through this last time. You knew where they were from, and I didn't, because I totally thought they were from L.A. They could definitely pass as being from L.A., but they're from either Denmark or Sweden, or maybe not even that.
Santa Cruz, huh?
Yeah.
I see if they're even on my. I don't think they are on here.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Brent Woods. That was his name, Brent Woods.
Brent Woods.
Brent Woods.
From Finland.
Yeah, Brent Woods is the guitarist for Sebastian Bach, and he's also in Wildside. Yeah, they're a late '80s Hollywood metal band. Worth checking out. You know, I mean, they're more
Santa
kind of
Cruz?
Santa Cruz. Yeah, they're worth checking out too. They're newer, but Brent Woods, that's the guy who's playing with Sebastian Bach.
Gotcha. He's a bass player.
No, that's Rob DeLuca.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
right. No, it's all right. It's all right. But,
Sorry, I was looking at this, trying to figure out this about Santa Cruz. But, okay, well,
yeah.
anyways,
Yeah,
sounds like you had a hell of a time.
I did. Yeah, it was good. It's good stuff.
Good.
Good stuff, especially
All right, moving right along.
Just on a final note, good stuff that comes to a place like the Vogue. You know, a week from Whitesnake, right? So good shows are definitely coming to Indianapolis as long as you know where to look for them.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's gotten a little bit better, it seems. So hopefully that trend continues.
Yeah, I hope so.
I know Anthrax is coming here later this year. I saw that.
Yeah, there were a lot of new shows that were recently announced for old Indianapolis. Anthrax being one of them.
Good stuff. So we got some new albums out recently.
Yes.
I got my little list here. It's not very long, but the new Volbeat album came out. Seal the Deal and Let's Boogie. I know Pat has it. I have yet to pick it up, but I've heard pretty much the whole thing, and I've liked what I've heard. And that's a phenomenal band. I love those guys. They put on a hell of a show. I hope they come around here again soon. I know they're getting ready to go. I think they did release tour dates. I don't think they're playing in Indiana anywhere anytime soon. I think the closest place is they're playing us is Columbus, Ohio. I believe that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And it's cool. What they're doing is if you buy a ticket to one of their shows, you get a free copy of the album, the latest album. And you can either do it by MP3 or you can get the actual CD that way, which I think is very, very cool.
That's cool. I wonder if we'll see more bands do that in the near future.
I don't know. You know, that'd be all right with me. Yorn Land has a new album called Heavy Rock Radio. It's another covers album. And I don't know if it's pronounced Jorn or Yorn. I still don't know that. But he is a phenomenal singer, and I was actually listening to some of that either today or yesterday, and he has some really interesting covers on there. He covers Paul Stanley solo song "Live to Win." He's got a cover of Stormbringer on there, a cover of Final Frontier by Iron Maiden, and some other songs. So that's definitely worth checking out.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
He's a phenomenal singer, man. Just very, he can sing almost any kind of style. You know, there's a concert of his, live concert of his on YouTube. I've watched one time. He did some Thin Lizzy covers and Whitesnake and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he can do everything, I think, from hard rock to power metal. You know?
Yep.
His voice definitely runs the gamut of subgenres.
Yep. Do you have... I'm going to save this last one for the last album we talk about. Do you have any other albums that just came out recently that you'd like to discuss?
Not really. The only thing I was going to bring up was, I think, the one you're probably looking at, Jim Brewer's.
Jim Breuer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jim Breuer, the comedian, has an album out, and it's not a comedy album. Well, it's not like an album with his stand-up routine. It's an actual music album, and with his backing band that he takes on the road sometimes. And it's produced by Rob Caggiano, and you're telling me that Rob played guitar on here too.
Yeah, he's part of that band.
Tracks and some of them.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's part of that band.
So it's really good, and it's catchy. Sounds like the old classic 80s metal, and he actually has a song called Old School on there that talks about that. It's kind of, a tribute to those kinds of bands that we love and we talk about on here. He's got a pretty good voice, I thought, for what it is.
I thought so too.
Video magic on there, but for the most part, I think he does a great job.
I think so too. I mean, for a really well-established comedian like he is, to release something like this, I think it's a little bit risky, but I think he really delivered. You know, I think maybe some people were expecting a full-out comedy album, but he, as far as I'm concerned, it sounds like he's really trying to make something that stands as a listenable by metal fans project, and I think he did a hell of a job. He and the band. I mean, the songs sound like legit hard rock and metal songs. Yeah, there might be some lyrics in there here and there that you might listen to. Like, yeah, that's kind of funny, but that's okay. It's but yeah, like you mentioned, listen to a song like Old School, and it sounds like something that you listen to by, I don't know, any other metal band that we talk about on here.
Yep.
So.
Yep. He's a fan, just like we are. He's got the money to, help produce and fund an album like this. Why the hell not? Do what you love. Do what you love, man. You got to hand it to him. I have written down here on the list, talk about, comedy/metal albums. I don't think there's a whole lot of those out there. Can you think of any other ones?
The closest thing to that, I think, might be there's a lot of comedians who are pretty open about their fandom in terms of being hard rock and metal fans, certain bands. But Brian Posehn is probably the first one that comes to mind. He'll be here in I think a week from Saturday, so probably still some tickets left. And he talks about being a metal fan a lot too. And he had an album maybe a year or so ago. I'll have to post the video. Metal by Numbers. Metal by Numbers is one of my the favorite tunes he did. And Scott Ian and I believe Joey Vera contributed to that track as well. And for all I know, probably even Mike Caggiano. But that's some good stuff. But there's a lot of metal themed, what I would consider metal themed comedians out there. I just said Posehn, but another one being Norton. Jim Norton he's pretty open about being a huge Sabbath and Ozzy and Kiss fan. Then there's the obvious two, Jim Florentine and Don Jamieson. Talk about rock and metal all the time, and rightfully so. Hopefully they bring
what about
that metal show back.
Sam Kinison?
Well, that was going to be my next one, actually. I mean, Sam Kinison is one of my favorite comedians of all time, and I think he wanted to be a rock star just as much as you wanted to be a comedian. Like, he was famous for his Wild Thing video. If you go back and watch that, I mean, it's got so many. I mean, he was partying with rock stars. I think he really wanted to be rock. He was actually a decent guitar player too. But God, who's in that video? I think Stephen Pearcy and Warren D. Martini's in that video. Billy Idol, Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora. I think even Vince Neil. I know some of the Motley Crue guys are in there. Yeah, if you go back and watch that video, it's really funny. About not Tiny Katane, the other, what's her name, the Jim Baker girl.
Bobby Brown.
No, I'm thinking of all the video chicks. What was her name? The girl that was caught with Jim Baker, which is funny because that was part of Sam Kinison's act. What the hell is her name? I can't believe I'm spacing it right now. But that's the girl who's rolling around with him in the Wild Thing video.
God, I haven't seen that video forever. I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah, I love Sam Kinison. I mean, it's who knows what he would have been like if he was still around today. I'm sure, like in the world we live in today, he probably would have had to change up his act a lot. Another guy, I didn't think about too much, although he probably wouldn't be so much in the metal community as much as, say, a guy like Sam would be. But there's Andrew Dice Clay. You look at him now, and not to get too much off the subject of metal, but he's kind of cleaned up his act a little bit. I mean, it's not nearly as what it used to be, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so you probably can't be as blue as he once were. And, in this day and age, everybody's so insensitive.
Yeah, so I can't really imagine what Kinison would have been like.
I like to think he wouldn't want to change much, man. Like, he seems. I don't know. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we won't know, but
yeah.
I'll just go on with the opinion that he would stay the same and not care what other people think.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it like that.
Yeah.
So
who knows? But I think that's him playing a lot of the guitars. I know he did have. I know he had it before he died. The last couple of years before he died, during his comedy show, he had like a band, and he would play guitar with the band, and he'd open. I think he'd open and close the show with a couple of covers, and before he'd go into his comedy act. So that's kind of why I think of him as being this, the most, in my opinion, the most metal comedian.
Yeah, for sure.
So
absolutely, I agree with that. So.
Rest
all right,
in peace,
so
I don't
know if those are available on the. I'm sure those albums are all available online. Check them out.
They are.
No, there you go.
I've got them all.
Anybody listening? Go for it.
Yeah, if they're hard to find on CD, sometimes you can really win with Amazon MP3. If you don't want to stream Spotify, you can pick them up pretty cheap on Amazon. The digital music.
Okay, moving on here. What did I have? Desert Island album. So what that is if you were marooned on a desert island and you could have one album, one CD or record, and somehow you could power it and listen to this, what would that be? And so I don't know how long you're going to be on this island. I guess that doesn't really make a difference. But if you could have one island or one album and you were marooned and that's all you really had to listen to, what album would that be? I'll let you go first and I'll say mine.
All right. This is a tough one.
It's very tough. Because, for me, it really changes on what kind of mood I'm in, So I had to think of an album that I like to listen to, no matter what my mood is.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so weird. I'm so weird that, like, if the weather is different, I like listening to some darker music. I like music like Sabbath, old Sabbath and stuff. I like listening to more in the winter time, I think, and when it's dark out, as opposed to, out on the boat when it's sunny or something,
Snow blind in the wintertime.
Yes, exactly. So, there's a lot of factors that kind of determine what I want to listen to at that time, but so I had to kind of think of what the one that I always want to, I'm always excited to hear. But go ahead, what would you think?
Well, I was torn a little bit between a few, but I almost went with Deep Purple's "Made in Japan." If you're stranded on a deserted island, you probably are going to want something. Probably going to want a big album, and probably something that's got a lot of different styles on it. I almost went with that one. It's just by a hair. Instead, I went with Led Zeppelin's "Physical Graffiti." Just because it's a double album and there's so many different. First of all, not only just being a big album in and of itself, being a double album, it's got lots of different shades of Zeppelin, and Zeppelin being one of my favorite bands. It was the first one that came to mind. Maybe on a different day, I could think of something else. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a Rush like. All the World's a Stage is another one that might be up there. But Physical Graffiti is probably the best answer I could give, I think, at least right now.
Man, that's a great choice.
And it's
it's hard to go wrong with that one.
It's so experimental too for a rock band. It's got
definitely is.
Yeah. It's got Kashmir, but it's all the other stuff. If you think about all the other stuff that's on there, it's really good too. Some of my favorite Zeppelin songs are on there. 10 Years Gone and what's the other? In the Light. Those are, I think each of those clock in around between 7, 8, or 10 minutes almost.
Yep.
So those are some of my favorite Zeppelin songs, just because they're really big and epic. And I know Kashmir's the hit, but to me those other songs are on that same level.
Man, God, Trample Underfoot's on there.
Trample Underfoot. The track Houses of the Holy, and you hear that on the radio once in a while. But I love Custard Pie too. Custard Pie is just such a nice rockin' one. The Rover. So you've got your nice, straightforward, more radio friendly on side one. Yeah, I guess side 1A or whatever you want to call it. You got other stuff on there too, like the ones I just mentioned, and Wanton Song. That's a really cool one. And then more your laid back, if you're on desert island, if you want to just sit back and just chill out, there's plenty of songs like that on there that, and maybe even instrumental too. Big album.
Absolutely.
Big album. Lots to listen to.
Yes, good choice. Excellent choice. I went with I guess probably one of the pinnacle album of one of my favorite bands, Queensryche, is Operation Mindcrime.
All right.
That album actually got me into Queensryche. An old boss of mine, when I worked at the restaurant, told me about it. He gave me a copy, and I listened to that. Dude, I kid you not, I probably listened to that over and over for weeks.
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of it, and it's got enough little things in there going on to where, it seems like it's one of those albums that kind of like the homework album we're going to talk about today. Every time you listen to it, you find something new. You find something that you didn't notice before, and it's to appreciate.
I was just about to say that, and that makes sense with like a lot of prog metal. You can always go back and find something new, like put on a Dream Theater album or something like that, or there's enough there for you to go back to it. Yeah,
and you're not going to get burnt out as easy. So,
right.
Even though I've heard it, dozens and dozens of times, it's an album I always love to go back to, and I still get the same feeling I used to back, when the opening track starts with the little drum intro and everything, and Anarchy X, and God, every song on there is a classic, and it's probably my favorite album of all time.
Yeah.
So I chose that for my Desert Island album, and I think we both had pretty damn good choices. And you listening, tell us on the Facebook page or Twitter what your choice would be. We'd love to hear it and get a discussion going on around that. So tell us what that would be. We forgot to mention H. Fraley's coming to the National Center.
H. Fraley.
So that'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know who's opening for him. It'd be great if all Soldiers could. I don't know if we can.
What's that?
It'd be great if the Soldiers could open for him too, but I don't know what it takes to get on that stage.
Yeah, that would be great.
But we do have a recent show announcement. Killer Dwarfs are going to make their way into Indianapolis. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's the headquarters down on the south side. Killer Dwarfs are coming in September, and we are playing with them as Soldiers of Fortune, and also it's going to be American Bombshell, I believe.
Yeah.
And the Electric Mob, is that right?
Yeah, that's
right. Some other local bands that are going to be playing with them, so we're looking forward to that. I know you are a huge Killer Dwarfs fan, and I love them too. You turned me on to them a few years ago, and that's going to be a blast.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I know we're looking forward to meeting with those guys. And, it should be a great time. It's an all-ages venue. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I'd be going there whether I was opening for them or not, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, picks of the week. Well, this is pretty simple. It's where we each select one album, the album that we recommend. And I'll go first here this time. I am going to go with a band called Night Fury. That's Knight, Night Fury, and it's brainchild. It's a project of Chris Sanders, who is currently playing in Britney Fox, but in the past he's played with what's the other name of the band that Lillian Axe, I think.
Really? Man, I didn't know that connection.
What's the other band?
What other?
Maybe it's Lillian Axe. But I'll have to come back to that. But he's a phenomenal guitar player, and this album's killer.
I didn't know about that connection between Night Fury and those guys, though. Wait, for Britney, who's from Britney?
Lizzie Borden. That's it. I knew it was a band named after a girl. Lizzie Borden.
No kidding.
Not Lillian Axe. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was lead guitar player for Britney Fox, Lizzie Borden, London, and Northern Lights Orchestra.
London, really?
Yeah.
The band London?
Yeah, he's yes.
You know, Nikki Sixx, I think, was a founding member of London. So there's even more of a web going on there.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the same London. It doesn't really say. I don't have a link to it.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's been all kinds of dudes in there.
Yeah, you're probably right. So, also in the band, David Ellefson from Megadeth is playing bass on there.
He's on that Night Fury album?
Yeah, he's on that. He's on that Night Fury album, and the drummer is Ken Mary from Alice Cooper.
Wow, that was a great album.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I keep going. That's another album I keep going back to. I mean, it's the singer. His name's William King. I have looked and I can't find anything about it I don't know if he's done any other projects or anything. It's really weird. But, he's got such a unique voice. Kind of harkens back to Jeff Tate a little bit.
I was going to say, if Queensryche hadn't found Todd LaTorre, they could have easily snagged up him. Because I think he can really pull off a Jeff Tate vibe.
Yeah. Great riffs, amazing soloing. It's a phenomenal album.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Melodic.
Night Fury. It's very melodic. And it's, the name of the album is Time to Rock. I'm sorry. I forgot how to name. The name of the album is Time to Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the CD, that's another case where you can really win with Amazon Digital Music, because if the CD's hard to find in such case like as Night Fury, or even one of our previous picks of the week, I think Lion's Heart, the CD's so hard to find that it's rare and pricey. You might be able to find the digital version on Amazon for probably anywhere from $5 to $8, so worth checking out.
Yeah, see, like example, this the Time to Rock album here, $9.49 on Amazon digital download, $32.42 for the CD. So, hey, you and I both agree that we'd rather have the CD, but sometimes you just gotta, we're not gonna be paying that much.
Pick your battles.
So, yeah. So, Time to Rock is the album. Like I said, you and I were joking. What time is it, dear?
I think it's time to rock.
Time to rock, honey. All right, what's yours?
All right. Speaking of albums that you keep coming back to, my pick of the week came out earlier in the year, and just like you say, I keep going back to it. It's so good. I can't say enough good things about it. It's Cauldron in Ruin. The band Cauldron album in Ruin. I think it's their best. I like their other albums, but to me this one is the songs are just so strong and catchy, but still very much in the vein of traditional heavy metal. They're a trio from Canada, Toronto, probably around January or February, but it just came out this year. Actually, they're one of their band members, Ian. He was in a bad accident earlier this year, but I think he's recovering pretty well. Because I know they got some shows booked this coming month up in Canada. Really cool band. Like I said, traditional, very much in the style of traditional heavy metal. Some of the other album reviews I've seen, one in particular, another podcast around here, Music the Lifeblood, they've got a pretty cool web series worth checking out of different vinyl reviews, and they reviewed the album around the same time that I discovered the album, and they said a lot of the same things I was thinking of. They kind of compared it to a little bit of Dokken, which I can really hear, because the singer, he's almost in that old school Don Dokken range.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not so much the high peaks of Don Dokken, but about the same timbre, if you will.
Okay.
But above all else, and maybe this is where that Dokken connection comes from, when I listened to the album, I mean, I enjoyed it instantly, but I was thinking, man, I could really hear this album in like an 80s horror movie, kind of like Dream Warriors, So, but it's definitely got that vibe to it. Even the album cover kind of looks like a spooky, maybe horror movie cover.
It looks terrifying.
Yeah, that's kind of why. Let's check this out. Let's see what this sounds like.
Definitely metal.
Yeah. Their other album covers kind of have that theme going too. So worth checking out.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. In Ruin. I can't say enough good things about it. It's one of my favorite albums that have come out this year. So check it out. CD probably shouldn't be that. I don't think CD's that pricey. CD's worth it. Get the CD.
CD is $11.59 on Amazon.
There you go. Get the CD. Help support those guys.
All right. So, Night Fury, Time to Rock, Cauldron, in Ruin are this week's picks of the week by James and Brandon here on the Stone and Steel podcast.
Oh, before we move on too quickly, there was another show I forgot to mention. There's a show I'm going to in St. Charles, another one of my favorite bands. in St. Charles, Illinois, going to the Arcada Theater is King's X.
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, Friday after next. I'm going to be there. I cannot wait.
Who else is playing with them?
King and Spade. Two kingly bands.
Yes, sounds very regal.
Yeah.
That'll be a blast. You've met them before, right?
Yeah, I saw them 10 years ago. Amazing bunch of guys, super talented. I think probably most of their fan base are probably musicians. It seems like most people that I run into that also like King's X, those are the kinds of people that respect a band such as King's X. Just because they don't try to be, a radio-friendly band. They just play and make music the way they do. And we could probably have a whole podcast devoted to King's X and bands like them being really underrated bands that are highly respected. And
they should definitely be more. They should definitely be bigger than what they are. They're very, like you said, underrated. This is like one of the quintessential underrated bands. Bands that had everything, but for some reason it didn't come together for them. So, phenomenal group of musicians, great group of guys. Right. That'll be a good time, man. Enjoy.
I will. I've been looking forward to it ever since I bought the tickets, which was probably a couple months ago.
We'll look forward to the full report here on the Steelcast when we get together. After that.
You bet. Anyway, sorry for the interruption.
Ready to move on to the homework?
Yeah, let's go to the homework.
All right. Everybody's favorite. This week's homework discussion is an album I chose last time we spoke. It was Crack the Skye by Mastodon. And it came out, I believe, 2009. And it's one of my favorite Mastodon albums. It's actually the first album of theirs that I like. I've gone back and listened to the albums prior to this, and maybe I'll get some slack from the listeners on this. For some reason, a lot of the albums before this one don't do anything for me, primarily because of the vocals. This album, and you and I, we make no secret of it. We are not fans of, quote, Cookie Monster vocals or, death metal vocals. You and I like singing. Now there are bands that do more death metal stuff that I do like. You and I talked about this, like, an example, the New Testament album, the latest one. Chuck Billy has some of that going on in his vocals. I love it in that situation. I don't know why that's any different, but the earlier Mastodon albums, I just can't get behind the vocals. It just annoys me. And they got cool riffs and everything, but Crack the Skye was the first one that they brought in cleaner vocals with Brent singing, and the bass player sings a lot. He sings a lot too, but it's different. It sounds better. So I don't know. This is the first one of theirs I really enjoyed, and I keep going back to it. There's a lot going on in it. Like I told you when I chose this, it's a progressive metal album, and Mastodon, those guys are extremely talented, and I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I really dug the album too. I haven't listened to a whole lot of Mastodon. I would definitely classify it as a modern prog metal. The vocals almost reminded me a little bit of Tool. I don't mean that as a criticism. It just kind of the vibe I got. And a little bit of the band too, because I think Tool could be described as a progressive metal band, modern.
Yeah, I can say so.
Progressive metal band. But I really liked the album opener. I'm completely spacing it on the name. Oblivion.
Oblivion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the title track, Crack the Skye, and the last track, the Last Baron. Those were the
13-minute one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those to me stood out the most. But I liked listening to it. I mean, I thought it was pretty atmospheric. The kind of prog metal I lean towards more is a little bit more like the Dream Theater and Fate's Warning and that kind of stuff. But
right.
I mean, that said, I still found an appreciation for what Mastodon was doing. It did have a modern production to it, which I don't completely mean that in a bad way, but I think some of the vocals, they were really echoey and reverby and whatnot, and that's not bad. But I think I would have liked to maybe hear just a little bit less than that, a little bit less of what it was, and then I could actually hear what the vocalist is doing a little bit better. But yeah, overall, I think it was good.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing it too much, but because I liked it.
Good. And you should. I recommend checking out some of their albums since this because they've all been great. And a little bit more, I guess, radio friendly. Even though they'll never get played on the radio, especially around here.
Yeah.
They have a little bit more, I guess, pop sensibility, but even it's definitely not pop. I mean,
of course.
I can't think of a better way to say that. But they clean up the vocals even more. So I recommend taking a look at those, The Hunter and Once More Around the Sun. Those phenomenal albums.
Yeah.
So glad you like this one, man.
Yeah,
this one, I always come back to it. You know, somebody actually gave it to me. They gave me a copy of the CD, and I liked it so much I went out and bought the CD, a whole new copy. And I went to the exchange and got it for myself. I wanted an actual copy of it.
Yeah.
The song, the track 5 on there, Ghost of Corellia. I think I told you this. Reminds me of like the opener to the Metroid Prime video game.
Yeah.
It sounds just like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody would get that reference, but
they should. But yeah, it did have that atmospheric kind of vibe to it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And again, I agree
song,
with you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, the song, it's not like verse chorus or anything like that. They're structured differently, and it's definitely an album I think you have to listen to 2 or 3 times for it to really start going.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot there.
Yeah. I don't know. I past that. I think that these guys, I've really got an appreciation from this album. So it's got a story to it. It's a concept album, and I've read the story. It's really weird, but it's worth reading the story because, you know, any concept album, you kind of want to know what the hell they're talking about.
Sure.
But it's some story about a paraplegic going through a wormhole and ending up in Russia and meeting Rasputin or something. I don't know. But
and there's a whole other podcast idea talking about prog metal, prog bands. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of really good ones out there.
This is the first album for Mastodon where they had introduced their third lead vocalist, where the drummer sang on this one. So they have three out of the 4 guys in the band sing on this one, and they're singing on the other album.
Really? Okay. See, I wasn't aware of that. When you brought up the vocals too, and I feel like I have to defend myself a little bit for the Testament, the New Testament album. I really like Chuck Billy as a vocalist. I mean, I think he's got that kind of that early thrash James Hetfield kind of voice. But I wish I could hear more of that out of him. Yeah, when he starts going into a little bit more of the modern-ish sounding, it takes me out of it just a little bit. But that's not to say that that's not to say I don't get it. Like I don't know if it's between him doing either what he can do now as a vocalist, or maybe he's just kind of tapping into that. That's perfectly fine. But
sure.
When I hear that in the Mastodon album, I really wish I'd hear more of a melodic vocal, especially when I'm hearing something like prog metal. I guess I've just been spoiled by, Fates Warning, especially early Fates Warning, where that guy sounded like he could have been an opera singer.
Yep.
Early Dream Theater, same kind of deal.
Yep.
I think melodic vocals over really heavy guitars, I think can be pretty cool, and you hear that a lot in power metal.
Gotcha.
Yeah, modern vocals. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And like I said, for Mastodon, the later albums have less and less of that, and it's more of Brent singing and more Brand's drummer singing as well, who are the cleaner vocals, and Troy, the bass player, has more of the, I guess, screamo, or if that's what it is, vocals. But even then,
I liked Testament's last album, though.
Good.
Testament's last album. Yeah, I actually thought that was really good. Yeah, I actually thought it was really good. I mean, the vocals really didn't detract me that much at all. I mean, I think Chuck Billy still sounds great. So don't get me wrong.
No, I know you like the album, and maybe it's past. I can't remember, but Anyway, check out the album Getting Cracked to Skye. Let us know your thoughts on it on Facebook or Twitter or any of those, and we get a discussion going around that. And it's time for your assignment.
I had like 3 different ideas. I almost went with another prog metal album. I thought maybe we should just take a break for now and go to another prog metal album a little bit later. But then after that, I had a few more ideas as far as what I wanted to assign. But since we already started talking about the Whitford St. Holmes album, I'm gonna assign that because it's so good, and it's a change of pace from the last assignment, but it's really good. You gotta check it out. The Whitford St. Holmes.
The first one, right?
Yeah. It's hard to find, so I'll have to lend you mine. But I wanted to assign Joe Perry's solo project that he came out with at the same time too, because
is that let the music do the talking?
Yes, yeah, because that I find is also really good too. So I don't know. I don't know if I should just assign one for now and then save that one for later. But since I already brought it up, maybe it'll just be double homework. Maybe just assign both of those.
Awesome. So that.
Yeah, Whitford St. Holmes and Let the Music Do the Talking.
Whitford St. Holmes. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll look forward to listening to that, and we'll come back next time and discuss it.
Yeah.
And good luck, listeners. Good luck finding a CD, or it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Normally, I would never tell somebody. We were always big on buying the album.
Yeah.
It's tough to get.
If it's that hard to find, I mean, you can always go to YouTube, and YouTube is a really good way to discover a lot of this stuff too.
Absolutely.
Stuff. Yeah,
I forgot to mention earlier, Anvil's playing at the fifth quarter tomorrow night.
That's
or not
right.
Tomorrow night, Friday night.
That's right. I forgot they're coming down too.
Anvil from fifth quarter. Anvil. So that's worth checking out.
Say what you will about Anvil, but I think their first out, not just the metal on metal, but I'm really spacing on the name of their first album. Like it's got a lot of early new wave of British heavy metal influences on there, and even a lot of maybe late 70s American hard rock influences on there too. Yeah, say what you will about Anvil, but like
so many albums
School Love,
down here trying to...
School Love, AC/DC, like the song AC/DC. Who there?
Forged in Fire.
Yeah, that's
Assassin.
it. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Anvil at Fifth Quarter Lounge, not far from Fountain Square, the 17th of this month. So definitely go check them out. I don't know what cover is off the top of my head, but it can't be too much. So, and that's a great place to see a concert. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us. That will be it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the picks of the week and the homework assignment. Brandon, do you have anything you want to add?
I'll post some. We'll post some links. We'll post some links of some of the stuff we've been talking about tonight. So Twitter.
Check us out on social media.
SoundCloud.
We're on iTunes now, are we?
Yeah, we've been on iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes. So not hard to get a hold of us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
This has been the Stone on Steelcast. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.